Good evening. Welcome to News Around the World on the most listened to radio station at Gidigbo 88.7 FM Ibadan. I am WURAOLA YUSUFF. The headlines: Nigeria extends malaria vaccine rollout to more states. UI graduate secures a Lagos deal to map public toilets. Schools in England could be forced to ban mobile phones. Mediators urge Iran to attend negotiations ahead of ceasefire deadline. Pep Guardiola confirmed the Rodri to miss the Burnley game. Now the details. Nigeria is expanding its malaria vaccination program to additional states in a renewed push to reduce the country's high malaria burden, even as declining donor support and rising costs place pressure on immunization financing and distribution systems. The executive director of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Muyi Aino, disclosed this today in Abuja during the agency's first quarterly media conference for 2026, noting that funding comes from both federal allocations and development partners, particularly Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance. However, he warned that external support is declining as Nigeria's malaria vaccine rollout has now moved beyond its initial pilot phase in Bayelsa and Kebbi states to include Bauchi and Ondo following readiness assessments. The expansion forms part of a broader effort to integrate malaria vaccination into routine immunization in high-burden areas. From drinking to cooking and other household chores, water is an essential part of the daily lives of humans. However, with limited access to clean water in some communities and the growing risk of waterborne diseases, the need for safe water practices has become more important than ever. Akidigo FM News correspondent Remile Kwanlausa speaks with a medical expert to understand the importance of clean water for good health. Here's the report.
In many homes and communities across Nigeria, access to safe drinking water remains a major concern, as people depend on different sources such as sachet, bottled, and borehole water for daily use. With a high demand for potable water, many Nigerians consume packaged water without always being certain of its safety. While some people believe that bottled and sachet water are properly treated and safe for drinking, others are worried about possible health risks due to poor handling and contamination. A medical expert, Dr. Rashid Ekerim, shared his view, noting that bottled water is generally considered the safest due to better regulation and treatment processes.
Because it has been undergone through a chemical process and a serious process before it can be approved by the DAMDAC, so that it can meet the public use consumption. You understand me? I believe from the explanation, we can say the bottled water is more serious than the boiled water.
Speaking further, Dr. Rashid Ekerim explained that what makes water hygienic or unsafe, emphasizing that proper treatment, clean storage, and good handling practice are key to ensuring safe drinking water.
Without these treatments, the removal of pathogens, microorganisms from the water, it can't be hygienic. So before NAFDAC satisfaction on this table water or sachet water, it has to be undergo through some treatments, and the microorganism has been removed.
Dr. Rashid Ekerim highlighted that despite being packaged, water can still be contaminated due to poor production methods, exposure to heat, and unhygienic storage conditions.
In the process of getting the bottled water from the source without the proper sanitization or proper washing or proper UTI ultraviolet light inspection, so it can still be contaminated.
As the demand for drinking water continues to grow, ensuring its safety remains important for both producers and consumers. Although packaged water offers convenience, proper regulation, awareness, and safe handling are essential to protect public health and ensure that the water people drink is truly safe. Remile Kwanlausa reporting for Agedigo FM.
The Lagos state government has sealed a partnership deal with a 24-year-old mathematics graduate from the University of Ibadan, Adetokunbo Ogunaike, to deploy a real-time toilet to find a platform across the state in a move to tackle open defecation through technology. The Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, confirmed this in our ex-post today, noting that he has approved the proposal by the founder of Blue Point Ogonoike alongside his startup partner, a 24-year-old mechanical engineering student at Demola Gbadero, to create a real-time mapping system for public toilets across the megacity. The collaboration follows a viral proposal Ogonoike pitched on X on Saturday, which caught the commissioner's attention. Responding to the thread, Ogonoike pitched a startup, arguing that the problem wasn't just building toilets, but making them findable, and within hours he was invited to pitch his ideas directly to the ministry on providing real-time tech solutions that will ensure seamless public access to the installed public toilets. Following the confirmation of a Lassa fever case in Oyo State, the current administration has advised the residents to maintain high hygiene standards as the disease is transmitted by rats. However, are residents maintaining the sanitation of their homes, offices, shops, and streets? In a growing city like Ibadan, where many people live close to one another, the importance of good sanitation cannot be overstated. In this report, Agidigbo FM News correspondent Abiodun Oloyede spoke with health experts on how good hygiene and proper sanitation can promote healthy living. Here's the report.
From homes to markets and other public spaces, poor sanitation has become a necessity for many residents. In the ancient city of Ibadan, people go about their businesses with little or no attention to sanitation. In 2026, many residents lack access to proper toilets and clean water, leading to unsafe practices like open defecation and improper waste disposal. Health experts say this condition contributes to the spread of diseases such as cholera, typhoid, and diarrhea, especially among children. Blocked drainage systems also cause flooding and create breeding grounds for mosquitoes, increasing cases of malaria. The situation has affected both public health and daily life, with increased medical costs and skipping of schools among children. In an exclusive interview with Agidigbo FM News, a medical doctor at Ibadan Central Hospital, Dr. Ibrahim Odetola, enlightened residents on the effects of poor sanitation on the public.
We are aware of Lassa fever now. That is in town now. So it's poor environmental sanitation that causes it. Because if you leave a lot of dirty environment, rat can survive there. From there, you know it's the rat that infects us and carrier for Lassa fever. You can spread more and more. Apart from that, mosquito bite, a lot of things, snake bite, everything like that. So it usually affects, it causes health hazard.
A well-meaning Nigerian, Mr. Philip Osundele, gave his own perspective on the issue of poor sanitation in Ibadan.
We need sanitation a lot, and it's very important because it will help to reduce and likewise prevent us from common diseases.
In another interview with Agidigbo FM, a matron, Mrs. Olayinka Adegoke Kodija, gave some explanation on the consequences of poor sanitation and how we can prevent it.
After visiting the toilet, we have to wash our hands. Then we go to the toilet, we have to wash our hands. When we want to eat, we have to wash our anything we touch, we have to wash our. Even when we go to the hospital to visit a patient, we have to wash our hands. Contaminated food or water, that's where we contact diarrhea, cholera, and something like that. Because if our food is not hygienic, so we are going to contact the cholera through it. So and others like that, even that's what we are talking about also.
Most people are advised to take good care of their environment and maintain proper sanitation to prevent diseases caused by poor hygiene. It is also important to understand that poor sanitation has many negative effects on our lives, our environment, and our families. Therefore, residents of Ibadan and Oyo State at large should practice proper sanitation to stay healthy, because good health is wealth. Abiodun Oloyede, Agidigbo FM News.
You're welcome back. Now it is time to link up with our United Kingdom studio for the foreign news.
News from Kulamza Studio, Agidigbo FM. United Kingdom, I am Olushola Damilola. Sir Keir Starmer has accused officials in the Foreign Office of deliberately and repeatedly withholding the fact that Lord Madison initially failed security vetting for the role of U.S. ambassador. The Prime Minister said if he had known, he would not have gone ahead with the appointment. Starmer found out last Tuesday that Foreign Office had gone against the recommendation of the Security Vetting Agency and cleared Lord Madison for the job. Madison was announced as the UK's ambassador to the US in December 2024, while he took up the role formally on 10th of February 2025, but was sacked just 7 months later over his ties to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. However, Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch has called for the Prime Minister to resign for misleading the House of Commons. Schools in England could be forced to ban mobile phones under government plans. The Department for Education guidance already says phones should not be allowed. Many teachers have long voiced concerns that smartphones distract pupils and can add to problems such as bullying. An amendment to the Children's Wellbeing and School Bill now proposed, making it a legal requirement. On Monday, the House of the Lords voted by a majority of 107 to ban phones during the school day, while the House of Commons is now expected to vote on the amendments on Wednesday. And that ends the news. From Kunle Hamzat Studio at Gidigbo FM, United Kingdom, I am Olushola Damilola.
We shall also be moving to our Maryland studio, United States, for more foreign news.
News from Kule Amzat Studio at Gidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosin Sonya. U.S. President Donald Trump said Tuesday he does not intend to extend the Wednesday evening instant time deadline tied to the Iran ceasefire, warning that the U.S. expects to begin bombing if no agreement is reached. While he expressed confidence that Iran would ultimately negotiate, Iranian officials have continued to reject that expectation. Vice President J.D. Vance and other senior U.S. officials are set to travel to Pakistan for a possible second round of talks aimed at resolving the conflict, according to sources. Meanwhile, the U.S. Defense Department said it boarded a vessel in the Indian Ocean overnight that had been sanctioned for transporting Iranian oil. The move follows Iran's demand for the release of a cargo ship seized by the U.S. Navy on Sunday, with Tehran warning it would retaliate. Pope Leo on Tuesday warned that humanity's future could be tragically compromised by ongoing wars and the erosion of international law, delivering a forceful address in Equatorial Guinea during his four-nation tour of Africa. The first American pontiff, who has recently drawn criticism from President Donald Trump for his increasingly outspoken stand, also condemned what he described as the colonization of the world's oil and mineral resources, saying it is fueling violent conflicts. He added that without a shift in political responsibility and greater respect for institutions and international agreements, the fate of humanity remains at serious risk. And here's the news from Kule Hamzat Studio at Gidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosin Sonya.
And now the exciting world of sports. Pep Guardiola says Manchester City midfielder Rodri will miss Wednesday's match against Burnley due to a groin injury, but could be in contention to face Southampton at the weekend. The 29-year-old Spain international was forced off in the closing stages of City's 2-1 win over league leaders Arsenal at the Etihad Stadium on Sunday. He went down and appeared to be in pain before being replaced by Nico Gonzalez in the 98th minute. Guardiola said after the match that he did not know the extent of the issue and further tests would have to be done to ascertain the severity. Rodri has struggled with fitness issues since returning from an ACL injury sustained in September 2024, picking up a hamstring problem against Brentford on October 5 that kept him out for 2 months and has 1 year remaining on a City contract, but he wishes to return to Spanish football one day, adding he could not turn down the opportunity of playing for Real Madrid. Sunday's win moved City to within 3 points of Arsenal with 1 game in hand, and they can take top spot with a victory against Burnley. To wrap up the news this evening, here's a recap of the headlines. Nigeria extends malaria vaccine rollout to more states. UI graduate secures a Lagos deal to map public toilets. Schools in England could be forced to ban mobile phones. Mediators urge Iran to attend negotiations ahead of ceasefire deadline. Pep Guardiola confirmed Rodri to miss the Burnley game. And before we go this evening, here is a quick tip. Yesterday is a history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. Finally, we have come to the end of the news around the world on the most listened to radio station at Kitikbo 88.7 FM Ibadan. I am WURAOLA YUSUFF. Thank you for listening. Good evening.
News is information, and information is power. At Agidigbo 88.7 FM, we bring the news from top to bottom.
The Oyo State Independent Electoral Commission, OISEC, has called for continuous collaboration